Hello, I'm Dawn Bueller, your Kansas River Keeper, and along with Friends of the Caw, we work to protect and preserve the 173-mile-long Kansas River, an incredible public resource and national water trail. Friends of the Caw is the only nonprofit dedicated to protecting and preserving the Kansas River. Education and recreation are a big part of what we do. By paddling along with me and our Caw River guides, we hope that you'll discover the beauty of the Kansas River and fall in love with it too. We've created this video of things to know before you go on a paddle trip with Friends of the Caw so that you can have the most safe and fun experience possible. Thanks for watching and enjoy a beautiful day on the river. So how does a Friends of the Caw paddle trip work? We have a lead boat at the front of the trip. This is usually the Kansas River Keeper. And then we have Caw River guides, which are our volunteers interspersed throughout the trip. These are people that are experienced paddlers. They can offer you guidance and assistance on the river. They can be there for safety reasons, and they can help you if you've never paddled before to learn how to paddle. We also have a sweep that's at the back of the group. This person is the very last person to get off the river. This kind of format ensures that we all stay together for safety reasons and that no one is left behind. First and foremost on the Kansas River is safety. You'll be fitted with a PFD, which is known as a personal flotation device. It's otherwise known as a life jacket. We want you to make sure that the life jacket fits you snugly. Make sure that you zip it, that you buckle it, and that it fits you well. This life jacket will be worn at all times while on the Kansas River. Children under the age of 12 must wear life jackets at all times, no exceptions. We set a maximum of 5,000 cubic feet per second for novices and 8,000 if you're an experienced paddler. When the river's at 8,000 CFS, there are no sandbars left. And that's kind of an important feature to know because that means there's no place to stop. There's not a place to camp. There's just, makes it so that you have to make the trip entirely on water. So the most common boat tips happen right here at the boat ramp or at the sandbar getting in and out of your boat, right? We honestly see people coming into a sandbar full speed and bunk, they'll tip it right as they get there. So if you do, put your feet down, stand up. More than likely there's a sandbar underneath you. If there's not, hang on to your paddle if you can, because that's one thing you're going to need when you get back in the boat. And just swim to the nearest sandbar or to the shore and someone will help you. Will help you get your boat upright and get back in the water. Signal for an emergency is a loud whistle. We have whistles on the river. If we blow the whistle, that means something's happened and we're all watch for what we're going to do. We're probably heading to a sandbar or at least getting over in the river.
Hi, this is Lisa Grossman, Secretary of Friends of the Caw and a Caw River Guide. I'm here to join Dawn to offer a few more tips that you should know before you go on a paddle trip with us. When getting in and out of your boat, we recommend 3 points of contact. Stay low, step into the boat, use both hands on the sides for balance. Once you're settled in your boat, then you can have someone hand you your paddle and your gear. Bring at least 1 gallon of water per person on a hot day, preferably in reusable jugs and bottles. A good option is a CamelBak if you have one. Bring your lunch or snacks, sunscreen, hand sanitizer, hat and sunglasses, rain gear if it's in the forecast, Ziplocs or dry bags for your keys, phones, medication, or any other important items.
Do make sure that you can secure your belongings in your boat. If you have a cell phone, I'm just telling you, there's always the opportunity you're going to drop it in the river. I carry one of these little doohickeys to keep my phone in, but I do have a dry bag that if anyone wants to put anything in it, you're more than welcome to. So what not to bring on the Kansas River? The things that you should leave at home include valuables, music, fishing gear, dogs, and alcoholic beverages.
Check the forecast before you go to dress appropriately. Wear light, quick dry clothes for sun protection. Shoes that protect your feet and don't let the rocks and sand in work great, like old sneakers or neoprene booties. Sandals like Keens are okay, but they still let rocks and sand in. Please don't wear flip-flops or go in your bare feet, even though it's tempting. All water bodies contain broken glass and rusty metal and hooks, and you're just safer with shoes on. Kayak and canoe strokes are similar but have some differences. Kayak paddles have a double blade and canoe paddles are single bladed. With a canoe paddle, put one hand over the grip and the other about a foot from the blade. Use a strong scooping motion to pull the boat through the water. All paddlers need the back paddle at times to stop or move the boat backwards. If you're in the stern, you're going to need to learn to use the paddle as a rudder. Hold it upright parallel to the side of the boat and move it in or out depending on which direction you want to move the boat. This takes a little getting used to, but once you get in the boat, practice a little bit before you get going and you'll get the feel of it pretty quickly. A kayak paddle has two blades, and these little rings are just to keep the water from running down your arms while you're paddling. To hold a kayak paddle correctly, you should have the long end of the blade on top and be able to read the logo. When you hold the paddle up, your hand should be about shoulder width apart. Use a strong, steady, alternating stroke to pull the boat through the water. Use the large muscles of your torso and back while rotating slightly to power the stroke. Both paddlers need to maintain a steady pace down the river. It's very important to track straight down the river and not go down broadside or bounce bank to bank. The person in the front or the bow is responsible for scouting hazards and communicating direction to the stern or the rear paddler. Remember that in a double kayak, the person in the front of the boat sets the pace while the person in the back follows. The paddler in the back or the stern paddles in sync with the person in the front and also steers the boat by ruddering or by both paddlers paddling on the same side. Above all, communicate and pay attention to the river and to others around you. Here are some things to watch for as you head down the river. Look for snags and strainers, places where debris collects or logs or sticks are sticking out of the water. Learn to read the river so you can avoid any hazards well in advance. The easiest way to tip your boat is to run up over a partially submerged log like this. Learn to scout for any potential hazards in the river way before you get there, so you have time to adjust and avoid them. The Kansas River is a beautiful prairie river with lots of braided sandbars. Here's a few tips to help you navigate and find the channel so you can spend more time paddling than getting stuck. There's always a channel even when the river is low, and the trick is staying in it. Watch the surface of the river to see where the flow is fastest. Often you'll see bubbles indicating where the channel is flowing. In general, the channel will follow the outer bends, which are cut the deepest. You'll see the erosion on the opposite bank as you're paddling downstream. Learn how sandbars form and you won't get stuck as often. They get deeper as you go downstream and then drop off sharply. If you're starting to get shallow, head left or right, and if you get stuck on a sandbar, be very careful because the far end can drop off very deeply. Always keep your eye on the river guides up ahead and follow their lead for the best way down the river.
We hope that you've learned a few tips about getting on the Kansas River and better understand what to expect when you join us on a paddle trip. We're excited to show you how we advocate for the Kansas River, all while showcasing its beauty and all that she has to offer. Have a great trip, have fun, and we'll see you on the river.